The silver ship descended from the clouds above Geneva, its smooth surface reflecting the morning sunlight. People gathered in the streets, pointing upward with a mixture of fear and wonder on their faces. After centuries of wondering if humanity was alone in the universe, they finally had their answer. Captain Maya Chen stood at attention near the makeshift landing zone, her hand resting casually on her holstered sidearm. As the head of security for this historic meeting, she had personally chosen every soldier in position around the field. They were the best Earth had to offer, though she wondered if their skills would matter against visitors who could cross the stars. "Steady," she said into her communications device. "Remember your training. No sudden movements." The ship, nearly the size of a football field, touched down without a sound. For several minutes, nothing happened. World leaders and their advisors waited nervously behind a safety line, whispering among themselves. Finally, a seam appeared in the ship's smooth hull, widening into a doorway. 3 tall figures emerged, walking with a strange grace that seemed almost mechanical. They had grayish-blue skin that shimmered slightly in the sunlight, large eyes that blinked sideways, and no visible mouths. Their bodies were thin but strong-looking, draped in flowing robes embedded with tiny lights that pulsed in patterns. "Welcome to Earth," said Secretary General Amara Okafor, stepping forward as the designated representative of humanity. "We come in peace and friendship." The tallest alien raised a 6-fingered hand. When it spoke, the sound came not from its body, but from a small device floating beside it. "We are representatives of the Galactic Council, a federation of 342 spacefaring civilizations. I am High Commander Zex Terrell." Maya studied the aliens carefully, noting every detail. Something about the way the lights on their robes pulsed caught her attention. Each time they moved near certain electronic equipment, the patterns changed. Slightly, the alien continued. "We have observed your world for centuries. Your species has advanced quickly, but your violent tendencies and unpredictable behavior concern us greatly." Secretary General Okafor's smile faltered. "We have made great progress toward peace in recent generations. Your history suggests otherwise," said the second alien. "Your species regularly engages in conflict, values individual desires over collective harmony, and develops weapons before solving basic social problems." Maya noticed the world leaders exchanging nervous glances. This wasn't the friendly first contact people had hoped for. "The Galactic Council has reached a decision," Zex Terrell announced. "Earth must undergo cultural rehabilitation to be considered safe for galactic interaction. You will surrender control of your military and governmental systems within 30 days. We will guide your development until you are ready to join galactic society as a protected species." The third alien stepped forward, placing a crystal cube on the ground. It projected a holographic document into the air, filled with symbols no human could read. "This contains the terms of your rehabilitation. It is non-negotiable." Chaos erupted among the human delegation. Some shouted in anger, while others argued for immediate compliance. Security teams tightened their positions, and Maya signaled her people to remain calm. "Perhaps there's been a misunderstanding," Secretary General Okafor said, trying to maintain composure. "Humanity deserves the chance to join your council as equals. We request time to discuss these terms and offer alternatives." "There are no alternatives," Zex Terrell said flatly. "Your species is too dangerous to be allowed free development. We offer protection and guidance, not partnership. You have 30 days to comply, or we will enforce containment." With that, the aliens turned and walked back to their ship, though a meeting barely 15 minutes long was over. As the ship rose silently into the sky, Maya's communicator buzzed. It was her brother, Dr. Elijah Okafor, the Secretary General's son and one of Earth's leading physicists. "Maya, are you watching this?" Elijah's voice was excited, not frightened. "I'm not watching it, I'm living it," she replied quietly, moving away from the others. "These aliens just told us to surrender or else." "Listen to me," Elijah said urgently. "For the past 3 years I've been tracking unusual energy signatures from space. I thought they were natural phenomena, but they match exactly what I'm seeing from that ship. They've been monitoring us with technology that creates quantum disturbances in our atmosphere. Maya frowned. And that helps us how? Because I've been developing a theory about manipulating those same fields, Elijah explained. If I'm right, their technology has a fundamental vulnerability they don't even realize. Maya watched as world leaders were escorted to emergency vehicles, their faces pale with shock. Meet me at the old lab in 2 hours. Tell no one. Over the next 2 days, emergency sessions of the United Nations debated how to respond to the ultimatum. Some nations advocated immediate surrender, hoping for merciful treatment. Others called for full military mobilization, despite the obvious technological gap. Maya slipped away from these discussions to meet with Elijah at his private laboratory outside the city. The facility, built into a mountainside, was shielded from most forms of detection. Look at this, Elijah said, showing her recordings of the alien ship. See how the energy field pulses? It interacts strangely with Earth's magnetic field. I believe their entire technology relies on quantum entanglement that evolved in star systems without strong magnetic fields like ours. Maya studied the data. You're saying they have a weakness? I'm saying we have a natural advantage they don't understand, Elijah replied, eyes bright with excitement. Their sensors can't properly interpret human brain activity. Something about our neural patterns, possibly evolved from millennia of surviving on a dangerous planet, creates noise in their systems. So they can't read our thoughts? Better than that, Elijah said. They can't predict our actions the way they can with other species. Human improvisation and creativity under pressure appears as random chaos to their systems. For the first time since the aliens landed, Maya felt a spark of hope. We need to form a resistance immediately, off the official channels. If what you're saying is true, we can operate without them knowing our true intentions. Elijah nodded. And there's more. I've been working on a device that could potentially disrupt their quantum field technology. It's primitive compared to their systems, but sometimes the simplest solution works best. Maya looked out the window at the night sky, wondering how many alien ships were already in orbit, invisible to human detection. The Galactic Council had given Earth an ultimatum, expecting immediate surrender from what they considered a primitive, violent species. They think they know humans, she said quietly, but they have no idea what we're capable of when threatened. She turned back to her brother with determination in her eyes. We have 28 days to show them exactly why Earth shouldn't be underestimated. Across the globe, as news of the ultimatum spread, humanity faced its greatest challenge. Unknown. To the Galactic Council, they had just awakened a sleeping giant. When Earth retaliated, they wouldn't be ready. 2 weeks had passed since the aliens delivered their ultimatum. On the surface, Earth's governments appeared to be preparing for surrender. News channels showed world leaders discussing peaceful transition plans. Military bases around the world reportedly began shutting down operations. But deep beneath an abandoned mining facility in the Rocky Mountains, Captain Maya Chen was building an army. No electronic devices beyond this point, she reminded the group of 30 soldiers, scientists, and engineers filing into the cavernous underground room. Nothing that could give off a signal they might detect. The room was lit by old-fashioned gas lamps, giving everyone's faces an orange glow. Maps and diagrams covered the walls, all drawn by hand on paper. This was humanity's war room, designed to be invisible to alien surveillance. Dr. Elijah Okafor stood at the front, his normally neat appearance now disheveled after days without proper sleep. On a large wooden table lay his latest creation, a device that looked cobbled together from old radio parts, copper wire, and what appeared to be modified kitchen appliances. It doesn't look like much, he admitted, noticing the doubtful expressions. But that's actually an advantage. The Council's technology is so advanced that they've forgotten the basics of electromagnetic disruption. Maya moved to stand beside her brother. 2 days ago, we tested a prototype of this device against a small alien scout ship. It worked better than we hoped. She nodded to a soldier who unfolded a cloth containing twisted pieces of alien metal. These are from their navigation system, Maya explained. When exposed to Elijah's quantum disruptor, Their systems experienced complete failure. We now have proof that we can fight back. A military general raised his hand. With all due respect, Captain, how do we scale this up? We can't possibly build enough of these devices to take on their entire fleet. Elijah smiled for the first time in days. We don't have to. We just need to create a coordinated pulse from strategic locations around the world. He pointed to a map where X marks had been drawn in specific locations. Earth's magnetic field will amplify the effect. As the meeting continued, Maya noticed a woman sitting quietly in the corner, taking notes on a small pad of paper. Sophia Patel had been a behavioral psychologist before the aliens arrived. Now she was one of their most valuable team members. Tell them what you discovered, Sophia, Maya prompted. Sophia stood, tucking a strand of gray hair behind her ear. I've been analyzing the Council's communication patterns and comparing them to human patterns. Their species evolved in environments with few predators and stable conditions. Their thinking is highly structured and hierarchical. She paused. Humans, by contrast, evolved on a dangerous planet with constant threats. Our brains developed to make rapid decisions and creative leaps under pressure. What does this mean practically? Asked one of the soldiers. It means they can't predict what we'll do, Sophia replied. Their entire strategy relies on species, behaving in logical, predictable ways. Human unpredictability, what they call our violent tendencies, is actually our greatest weapon. Maya took over. We've confirmed through observation that their surveillance systems struggle to interpret human behavior. When we act in ways that don't follow their predicted patterns, we essentially become invisible to them. This revelation changed the atmosphere in the room. For the first time, the group saw hope on each other's faces. Here's the plan, Maya continued, rolling out a hand-drawn map of the alien command ship currently orbiting Earth. We don't need to defeat their entire fleet. We just need to capture their central communication array. Once we control that, we can send false information to the rest of their ships. Elijah pointed to his device. And we'll use this to temporarily disable their defenses during the attack. The plan was daring, possibly suicidal, but it gave humanity a chance. As the meeting concluded, teams were assigned specific responsibilities. They would have only one opportunity to get this right. Maya walked with Sophia toward the sleeping quarters carved into the rock. There's something you're not telling the others, Sophia said quietly. Maya glanced around to ensure they were alone. Zexaterral isn't like the other council members. When I was at the Geneva meeting, he studied me differently. It felt like he could see through our act. Sophia nodded. I noticed that in the broadcast too. While other aliens seem completely confident, he shows signs of caution. I think he suspects something. Can he predict what we're planning? No, Sophia said confidently. Even if he suspects resistance, he can't imagine how we'll fight back. Their species has never experienced a significant military threat in over 2,000 years. The concept of guerrilla warfare is foreign to them. Meanwhile, in orbit above Earth, High Commander Zexaterral stood alone in his private chamber, watching recordings of human activities. Unlike his colleagues who saw only a primitive species preparing to submit, he noticed subtle patterns that troubled him. Computer, analyze human movement patterns in major cities over the past week, he commanded. Holographic data appeared before him. Statistical analysis shows 28% reduction in military personnel visible at known bases, the computer reported. Consistent with demilitarization order, Zexaterral's 6 fingers tapped restlessly on the control panel. Expand search to include civilian population centers. New data streamed across the display. Nothing seemed unusual, yet something felt wrong. In his 700 years of overseeing planetary integrations, he had never felt such unease. He opened a secure channel to the Council's central authority. Request additional subjugation vessels to Earth sector. I believe we may encounter resistance. The response was immediate. Request denied. Analysis shows human technology is centuries behind minimum threshold for effective resistance. Complete your mission with assigned resources. Zexaterral closed the channel, his bioluminescent patterns reflecting his frustration. Council protocol was clear. Follow established procedures, especially for primitive worlds. Yet everything he had learned about humans suggested they wouldn't surrender quietly. Back on Earth, Maya studied a stolen alien communication device under red light that wouldn't trigger its active systems. She had discovered that the device responded differently when held by a human, compared to when manipulated by mechanical arms. Something about human bioelectrical fields interfered with its operation. 2 more weeks, she whispered to herself. They think we're preparing to surrender, but we're really preparing for war. Across the globe, resistance cells were forming, each operating independently yet coordinated through old-fashioned methods the aliens couldn't monitor. Hand-delivered messages, radio signals using frequencies the aliens ignored, even Morse, code transmitted through power line fluctuations. Humanity was awakening to its hidden strengths. The Galactic Council had never faced a species that chose devastating conflict over peaceful subjugation. They weren't ready for what was coming. In his lab, Elijah worked through another sleepless night, perfecting his quantum disruptor. They think they're so advanced, he muttered as sparks flew from his workbench. But sometimes the simplest solution works against the most complex problem. In 16 days, Earth would show the Galactic Council exactly why underestimating humans was the biggest mistake they had ever made. The morning of the 29th day dawned clear and cold. In Geneva, preparations for Earth's surrender ceremony continued under the watchful eyes of alien observers. Stages were built, speeches prepared, and security measures implemented to ensure a smooth transition of power. High Commander Zex Terrell watched the activity from his ship, his unease growing by the hour. Something wasn't right. Human behavior patterns had shifted subtly over the past week. Communications between major cities had decreased by 17%, a change his analysts attributed to resignation and fear, but which Zex Terrell suspected meant something else entirely. Increase surveillance on all military installations, he ordered, and scan for unusual energy signatures. His second-in-command, a younger alien named Virtek, tilted his head in confusion. Commander, our reports indicate full human compliance. Their leaders have signed the preliminary agreements. The ceremony begins in 6 hours. Humans are unpredictable, Zex Terrell replied. In 7 centuries of service, I have never encountered a species that accepts defeat so quietly. Meanwhile, deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Captain Maya Chen strapped herself into battle armor salvaged and modified from a crashed alien scout ship. Around her, 20 elite soldiers did the same, their faces grim but determined. Remember your training, she told them. Our advantage is that they don't expect us to fight at all, much less to use their own technology against them. The quantum disruptor will work for exactly 7 minutes before their systems adapt. In that window, we must reach the communication array. Dr. Elijah Okafor entered the chamber, carrying what looked like a small metal backpack with blinking lights. The final version, he said, handing it to Maya. Once activated, it will disable all Council technology within a half-mile radius. The effect will cascade through their network and temporarily disable systems throughout the solar system. Maya secured the device to her armor. And the ships? Their shields will fail for approximately 2 minutes, Elijah confirmed. After that, emergency systems will restore partial functionality. Sophia Patel stepped forward. We've analyzed their command structure. When their technology fails, they'll follow standard emergency protocols, which means they'll concentrate their forces around Zex Terrell's ship. She pointed to a handmade star chart. That gives us our opening to capture the secondary command vessel where the communication array is housed. Maya checked her weapon, a conventional rifle modified with components that would disrupt alien personal shields. What about the other targets? Resistance cells are in position worldwide, Sophia replied. They'll strike simultaneously when your signal goes out. Every Council ground installation will be hit at once. The plan was dangerous, possibly suicidal, but it was humanity's only chance. If they surrendered today, Earth would lose its independence forever. Maya embraced her brother. If I don't come back, you will, Elijah interrupted. And I'll have the second phase ready when you do. At that moment, 50 similar scenes played out in hidden bases across the planet. Humanity was preparing for war against an enemy that had no idea it was about to be attacked. 4 hours later, as alien ships hovered above Geneva in formation for the surrender ceremony, Maya's team moved into position. Using Elijah's earlier prototypes, they had created blind spots in the aliens' detection systems, allowing them to approach the secondary command vessel in a stolen maintenance ship. Approaching target, reported the pilot, a former Air Force captain named Rodriguez. Their shields are active, but they're not scanning us. They think we're one of theirs. Maya checked the quantum disruptor's timer. Everyone ready? Once we activate this, there's no going back. 20 grim faces nodded in response. For Earth, Maya said simply, and pressed the activation switch. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a pulse of energy erupted from the device, spreading outward like ripples in a pond. All around them, alien systems began to fail. The lights on their stolen ship flickered and died. The massive command vessels above Geneva suddenly dropped several 100 feet before emergency systems engaged. Move now, Maya ordered as their ship drifted lifelessly. Her team opened the airlock and launched themselves across open space toward the secondary command vessel, using handheld thrusters to guide their trajectory. Across Earth, the scene repeated itself. Alien technology failed simultaneously worldwide. In London, resistance fighters stormed a grounded patrol ship. In Tokyo, an alien ground installation went dark, allowing a team of engineers to capture its communication equipment. In Nairobi, the resistance seized a weapons depot before the aliens could respond. On his flagship, High Commander Zex Terrell watched in stunned disbelief as emergency lighting bathed the bridge in red. What is happening? He demanded. Unknown. Energy Pulse has disabled primary systems, an officer reported, panic evident in his voice. We've lost contact with 82% of our forces planet-wide. Zex Terrell's worst fears were confirmed. Rally all functional ships to protect this vessel, he ordered. The humans are attacking. This was precisely what Sophia had predicted. As the Council forces concentrated around Zex Terrell's flagship, Maya's team encountered minimal resistance boarding the secondary command vessel. We have 5 minutes before their systems adapt, Maya reminded her team as they fought their way through confused alien crew members. Their modified weapons proved devastatingly effective against enemies who had never expected to face armed humans. 3 decks up and 4 corridors over, they found what they were looking for: the central communication array. It was a massive room filled with crystalline structures that pulsed with soft light. Plant charges on the entrance, Maya ordered. No one gets in behind us. She turned to their tech specialist. How long to gain control? 2 minutes, if their systems remain compromised, the specialist replied, already connecting human technology to alien interfaces. They worked quickly, following the procedures they had practiced countless times. Outside, they could hear the sounds of alien reinforcements arriving. Their time was running out. Systems adapting faster than expected, warned Rodriguez. We've got maybe 1 minute before their weapons come back online. Maya positioned herself at the doorway, weapon ready. Hold them off. We only need 30 more seconds. The first aliens to reach them were clearly unprepared for combat. Their species had relied on technological superiority for so long that many had never faced actual physical danger. But more soldiers were coming. Maya could hear them approaching. Done! The specialist shouted. We have control! Maya activated her communication device, an old-fashioned radio that didn't rely on alien technology. All teams, this is Retaliation Actual. Communication array secured. Initiate broadcast. Around the world, resistance cells received the message and began their own operations. Suddenly, a massive explosion rocked the ship. Maya was thrown against a wall, her vision going dark momentarily. When she regained consciousness, she saw that half her team was down. Blood seeped from a wound in her side. With shaking hands, she activated Elijah's device, connecting it to the communication array. Before losing consciousness again, she had one last glimpse of alien text being replaced by human words on the main display. The message going out to every council ship and installation was simple but powerful. Earth chooses freedom. This is just the beginning. As darkness took her, Maya thought she saw the face of High Commander Zexa Taral on a monitor, his alien features showing something she never expected to see. Fear. The first strike had succeeded, but the war for Earth's freedom had only just begun. Maya Chen woke to the steady beep of medical equipment. For a moment she thought she was in a regular hospital, until she noticed the ceiling, rough-hewn rock. She was back in the resistance base beneath the Rocky Mountains. "Welcome back to the land of the living," said a familiar voice. Her brother Elijah sat beside her bed, dark circles under his eyes, suggesting he hadn't slept in days. "How long was I out?" Maya asked, her voice hoarse. 4 days, Elijah replied. "You lost a lot of blood. Rodriguez and 3 others carried you out when the ship was recaptured. 7 of your team didn't make it." Maya closed her eyes, remembering their faces. "Did we succeed?" A smile broke across Elijah's tired face. "Beyond our wildest expectations. The communication array was under our control for nearly 6 hours before they could shut it down. In that time, we broadcast everything, footage of their ultimatum, our defensive actions, and appeals to other species in the galaxy." He helped Maya sit up and handed her a tablet, one of the few electronic devices permitted in the medical wing. On it played video from around the world showing the aftermath of humanity's first strike. Captured alien vessels being studied by human scientists. Resistance fighters repurposing alien weapons. People celebrating in the streets of cities that had successfully repelled alien forces. "This isn't just happening on Earth," Elijah continued, swiping to a new video. "This is from one of their ships we captured intact." The screen showed alien, text and symbols, translated with captions at the bottom. It was an emergency broadcast from the Galactic Council, ordering all available ships to converge on the Sol system. 3 planetary subjugation fleets, Elijah explained. "They're bringing enough firepower to glass the entire planet." Maya handed back the tablet. "How long do we have?" 2 weeks at most. But that's not all. Elijah's eyes gleamed with excitement. "While studying the captured communication array, I discovered something amazing. We can temporarily take control of their ships, not just disable them, but actually command their systems." "How is that possible?" "Their technology relies on quantum entanglement for instantaneous communication across vast distances. When we disrupted it, we created what they call a sovereignty gap, a period where their systems seek new control parameters. If we provide those parameters, we become the new controllers." Maya finished, understanding immediately. "How long does this control last?" "Only minutes before their security protocols engage," Elijah admitted. "But in those minutes, we could turn their weapons against them." A knock at the door interrupted them. Sophia Patel entered, followed by 3 beings Maya had never seen before. They were clearly not human. One had pale green skin and 4 arms, another was short with gold-colored scales, and the third resembled a tall insect with compound eyes. Maya instinctively reached for a weapon that wasn't there. "It's okay," Sophia said quickly. "They're allies, representatives from other species who have been living under council rule. They arrived yesterday in a cloaked ship, risking everything to contact us." The green-skinned being stepped forward. "I am Nexor of the Veldari Collective. For 3 centuries, my people have existed as resource providers for the council. What you humans have accomplished in 1 month." The alien made a gesture that might have been respect. "No species has successfully resisted the council in over 1,000 years." The insect-like being clicked its mandibles. "The Vakar Hive sends greetings to the warrior humans. Your broadcast reached 17 systems before the council could block it. Rebellions have begun on at least 3 worlds." Maya looked at these unexpected allies with amazement. "You're saying we're not alone in this fight?" The scaled being produced a small crystal, placing it carefully on a table. I am Thrix of the Solari Defense Remnant. This contains technical specifications for Council flagship vulnerabilities and access codes to their emergency communication channels. My ancestors were among the last to fight the Council before your species. We have waited generations for allies with your unique abilities. This was a development no one had anticipated. Humanity had unknowingly ignited resistance across the galaxy. Meanwhile, aboard his flagship now in high orbit, High Commander Zex Teral faced the most difficult conversation of his long career. The holographic projections of 12 Council elders hovered before him, their ancient faces showing a range of emotions from anger to disbelief. You allowed primitive humans to capture Council technology, accused Elder Vorlak, the oldest among them. This is unprecedented. I warned that humans were dangerous, Zex Teral replied evenly. My requests for additional resources were denied. Because no pre-spaceflight species has ever posed a threat to Council authority. Elder Vorlak's hologram flickered with his agitation. Now we receive reports of rebellions on multiple worlds. The humans have destabilized centuries of order in mere days. Another Elder Trinvex raised a gnarled hand. More concerning is how they accomplished this. Our preliminary analysis suggests they exploited fundamental vulnerabilities in our quantum communication systems that have existed for millennia. How did a primitive species discover weaknesses our own scientists overlooked? Zex Teral had been wondering the same thing. Humans think differently than any species I have encountered. They embrace chaos and improvisation in ways that seem irrational, but prove effective. They actively seek vulnerabilities rather than following established patterns. Their broadcast is spreading, despite our efforts to contain it, said a third elder. Non-Council species are watching this conflict with great interest. If humans successfully resist, our authority across the galaxy could crumble. The decision was unanimous. Earth had become an existential threat to Council rule. 3 subjugation fleets would converge on the Sol system, with authorization to use the forbidden planet killer weapon if necessary. As the meeting concluded, Elder Vorlak remained behind, his ancient eyes studying Zex Teral. You admire them, don't you? He asked quietly. Zex Teral didn't deny it. They fight against impossible odds with resourcefulness and determination. In some ways, they remind me of what the Council was before we became an empire. Dangerous thoughts. Commander, the elder warned. Complete your mission. End the human threat. The Council has spoken. Back on Earth, Maya met with the combined human-alien resistance leadership. Her wounds still pained her, but there was no time for full recovery. The arrival of alien allies had changed everything. With the Veldari's knowledge of Council fleet movements and the Solari's technical expertise, we can prepare for the coming attack, Maya explained to the assembled group. And the Vakar have provided us with maps of Council supply chains we can disrupt. A general raised his hand. Captain Chen, even with these advantages, we're talking about facing 3 planetary subjugation fleets. The odds have always been against us, Maya interrupted. But the Council has never faced a species like humans fighting, alongside allies who know their weaknesses. She pointed to the tactical display showing the approaching Council fleets. They expect us to cower or surrender when faced with overwhelming force. Instead, we'll bring the fight to them. The plan they developed was audacious. Using captured Council vessels and the temporary control technology Elijah had perfected, they would attack the subjugation fleets before they could reach Earth. It wasn't about winning through superior firepower, but about creating confusion and discord within the enemy ranks. As the meeting concluded, Nexor of the Veldari approached Maya. You should know something about Zex Teral, the alien said quietly. He is not like other Council leaders. In his long life, he has seen the Council change from a cooperative alliance to an empire. Some believe he secretly questions their methods. You're suggesting he might help us? Maya asked, skeptical. I suggest nothing, Nexor replied. But in war, understanding your enemy is as important as fighting them. The Resistance had 2 weeks to prepare for the arrival of the Council fleets. 2 weeks to ready humanity's defense and coordinate with their new alien allies. 2 weeks to prove that Earth's first successful strike was not just luck, but the beginning of a revolution that would change the galaxy forever. The massive Council warship emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Sol system, its sleek, dark hull absorbing rather than reflecting the distant sunlight. It was the first of 3 subjugation fleets, carrying enough firepower to reduce Earth's surface to molten rock. On its command bridge, Admiral Krenvor reviewed tactical displays with cold efficiency. As a military leader with over 4 centuries of experience, he had overseen the subjugation of 17 worlds. None had ever required more than a single demonstration of Council power before surrendering. "Status report," he ordered. "All systems functioning at optimal capacity," his second-in-command responded. "The second and third fleets will arrive within 48 hours. Earth's primitive defenses are no match for even our forward scouts." Admiral Krenvor nodded, his confidence absolute. "Begin standard deployment pattern. Launch recognition probes to identify key military installations. Once the other fleets arrive, we will commence with Protocol 7. Protocol 7. The systematic destruction of military capabilities followed by targeted strikes against government centers. It had worked flawlessly throughout Council history. What the Admiral didn't know was that his ship's secure communication system had been compromised. Every word spoken on his bridge was being transmitted to a small, unmarked vessel hiding in the shadow of Saturn's rings. Inside that vessel, Maya Chen and Nexor of the Veldari listened intently to the Council's plans. "They're following standard subjugation procedures," Nexor explained, his forearms working different control stations simultaneously. "The Council never changes tactics that have proven successful." Maya smiled grimly. "That predictability is exactly what we're counting on." She activated her secure communication link to Earth. "Elijah, the first fleet has arrived. Begin Operation Trojan." Thousands of miles away, in a fortified laboratory beneath Geneva, Dr. Elijah Okafor received his sister's message. Around him, human scientists worked alongside Solari technicians making final adjustments to a modified Council communication array. "It's time," Elijah announced to the room. "Begin the broadcast." The device powered up, emitting a specific quantum frequency that the Council used for secure ship-to-ship communication. But this signal contained something the Council had never encountered: a human computer virus specifically designed to infiltrate their systems. In the cold darkness of space, small maintenance drones on the Council warships received the signal and began behaving oddly. Designed to repair external damage, these drones instead began making subtle modifications to the ship's communication systems, creating backdoors into their secure networks. Meanwhile, at the Galactic Council's central hub, a massive space station orbiting a distant star, an emergency session had been convened. Representatives from the Council's 300-member species gathered to discuss the human problem. High Commander Zex Terrell stood before them, delivering his report on Earth's unexpected resistance. As he spoke, murmurs of concern spread through the assembly. "The humans have not only resisted our standard integration procedures but have managed to capture and repurpose our technology," Zex Terrell explained. "More concerning is the effect their resistance has had on subjugated worlds. We now face rebellions in 7 systems, with unrest growing in 12 others." A representative from the Jora Collective, one of the younger Council species, rose to speak. "Is it necessary to destroy an entire civilization? Could we not negotiate with these humans instead? Negotiate with primitives?" scoffed an older representative. "That would undermine the Council's authority throughout the galaxy." "But if their broadcast is accurate," the Jora representative persisted, "the humans only fought back after being threatened with cultural extinction. Is that truly the Council's purpose? To eliminate diversity rather than embrace it?" Debates erupted across the chamber. Younger species that had joined the Council voluntarily began questioning the ethics of subjugation. Older members insisted that order must be maintained at any cost. Observing the chaos, Elder Vorlak approached Zex Terrell privately. "You see what the humans have done? Their ideas spread like a virus, infecting even council members with notions of equality and independence. Perhaps it is time we reconsidered our approach, Zexaterral suggested carefully. The elder's eyes narrowed. You have spent too much time studying these humans, Commander. Remember your oath to the Council. As the debate raged, a junior communication officer approached Zexaterral with an urgent message. The first subjugation fleet had arrived at Earth and deployed according to standard procedure. However, something strange was happening. The humans weren't fighting back or attempting to flee. They appeared to be simply waiting. Back on Earth, Maya's small ship raced homeward, using the advanced stealth technology provided by their alien allies. They had to reach the main resistance base before the Council launched their attack. The virus has successfully integrated with their communication systems, Elijah reported over the secure channel. We'll have control of their external weapons for approximately 7 minutes once activated. That's not much time, Maya replied, concerned. It's all we need to implement the next phase, Elijah assured her. The Solari engineers have completed modifications to the quantum disruptor. Instead of simply disabling their technology, we can now redirect the energy. Maya understood immediately. We're going to turn their weapons against their own ships. Exactly, Elijah confirmed. But we need to wait until all 3 fleets are in position. If we strike too early, the other fleets will adapt their systems. The plan was incredibly risky. If they failed, Earth would have no defense against the full might of the Council. But if they succeeded, they would demonstrate that humanity couldn't be conquered through conventional means. When Maya's ship landed at the Geneva base 12 hours later, she was shocked to find an unexpected visitor waiting for her. A holographic projection of High Commander Zexaterral himself. Captain Chen, the alien said, his voice transmitted through a secure channel that bypassed normal Council communications. I believe we need to talk. Maya raised her weapon instinctively, before realizing it would be useless against a hologram. How did you find this location? I've studied humans extensively since our first encounter, Zexaterral replied. You are predictable in your unpredictability. What do you want? Maya demanded, signaling security teams to scan for any approaching threats. To avoid unnecessary destruction, the alien commander said simply. The Council has authorized the use of prohibited weapons against Earth. Weapons capable of rendering your entire planet uninhabitable. Maya's blood ran cold, but she maintained her composure. If you're here to demand our surrender, you're wasting your time. I am here to inform you that the Council is divided, Zexaterral said, surprising her. For the first time in centuries, member species are questioning our methods. Your resistance has created opportunities for change. Sophia Patel, who had been silently observing, stepped forward. You're suggesting an alliance? Why should we trust you? Not an alliance, Zexaterral corrected, but perhaps a dialogue. I can delay the attack by 24 hours. Use that time wisely, Captain Chen. The hologram flickered and disappeared, leaving the humans looking at each other in confusion and hope. Could it be a trap? Someone asked. Possibly, Maya acknowledged. But it confirms something important. We've created division within the Council itself, and that may be our greatest weapon yet. She turned to the tactical display showing the approaching Council fleets. Continue with the operation as planned, but also prepare a special broadcast, one directed specifically at the younger Council species. If they're already questioning their leaders, let's give them more reasons. As Earth prepared for the coming battle, the galactic order that had remained unchanged for millennia continued to fracture. The question was no longer whether humanity could survive the Council's attack, but whether the Council itself would survive humanity's revolution. 3 massive Council subjugation fleets hung in Earth's orbit like dark storm clouds threatening to unleash destruction. Each ship was a marvel of advanced technology, capable of reducing entire cities to ash in seconds. Under normal circumstances, the sight alone would have been enough to force any civilization into immediate surrender, but circumstances were far from normal. In the Geneva Resistance headquarters, Maya Chen stood before a coalition unlike any in human history. Representatives from 17 Earth nations sat alongside delegates from 3 alien species, who had risked everything to join humanity's fight. The tension in the room was palpable as Maya outlined their final plan. "The Council expects us to either surrender or attempt a desperate last stand," she explained, pointing to tactical displays showing the enemy fleet positions. "Instead, we're going to change the rules of the game entirely." Elijah stepped forward, his usual lab coat replaced by tactical gear. "Thanks to our Solari allies, we've modified their communication virus to do more than just give us temporary control of their weapons. When activated, it will broadcast directly to every ship in their fleet simultaneously." "What will it broadcast?" asked the French defense minister. Maya nodded to Sophia, who activated a holographic display. "The truth," Sophia said simply. "Everything we've learned about the Council's history, how they began as a peaceful coalition but evolved into an empire that subjugates rather than cooperates, how younger Council species are kept in the dark about the true nature of their cultural rehabilitation programs." The green-skinned Veldari representative, Nexor, spoke up. "We have also included testimony from our people and others who have suffered under Council rule. Many serving on those ships have never heard these perspectives. It was psychological warfare on a galactic scale, not just fighting the Council's ships, but fighting for the hearts and minds of those serving on them. The broadcast alone won't be enough," Maya cautioned. "While their crews are processing this information, we'll execute our military strike. We'll have exactly 7 minutes to use their own weapons against them before their systems adapt. And if we fail," someone asked. Maya's expression remained resolute. "Then humanity will have proven that we would rather fight for our freedom than live on our knees. But we won't fail." As the meeting concluded, Maya found herself standing alone, looking at a satellite image of the enemy fleet. A familiar voice spoke behind her. "A remarkable plan, Captain Chen. But Zextarel won't be easily confused by your broadcast." She turned to find the holographic form of Elder Vorlak, the ancient council leader who had authorized the planet killer weapon. Somehow, he had gained access to their secure facility. "How did you—" "Your security is impressive by most standards, but the Council has had millennia to perfect our surveillance technology," the Elder explained. "I've been monitoring your resistance since the beginning." Maya's hand moved subtly toward her weapon, though she knew it would be useless against a hologram. "Save your energy, Captain," Vorlak said. "I'm not here to stop you. I'm here to understand you." His ancient eyes studied her with genuine curiosity. "In all my centuries, I've never encountered a species willing to risk extinction rather than accept our guidance. You call it guidance. We call it subjugation," Maya replied. "Humans would rather die free than live as slaves." The Elder made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Such dramatic creatures. Yet your conviction has accomplished what centuries of Council politics could not. It has forced us to question our methods." Before Maya could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. On the tactical displays, the Council fleets had begun to move into attack formation. Their 24-hour reprieve had ended. "It seems Zexaterral could delay no longer," Vorlak observed. "He is an interesting case. A true believer in the Council's original purpose who has been privately questioning our evolution into an empire. Your resistance awakened his doubts. Is that why you're here? To study us before you destroy our world?" The ancient alien's hologram flickered slightly. "I am here because despite my position, I too have questions. The Council has existed for over 10,000 years. Perhaps it is time for change." With that cryptic statement, the hologram vanished. Maya had no time to ponder its meaning. As Elijah rushed into the room, "They're deploying the planet killer," he reported breathlessly. "We need to activate the countermeasure now." Throughout Earth's orbit, small stealth satellites, built with technology from their alien allies, powered up simultaneously. Each emitted a specialized quantum field designed to interact with the Council's weapons systems. On the Council flagship, Admiral Krenvor gave the command to deploy the forbidden weapon, a device that would destabilize Earth's tectonic plates, rendering the planet uninhabitable for millennia. "Weapon charging," reported his weapons officer, Firing sequence initiating. Suddenly, every screen on the bridge flickered. The ship's AI announced, "Security breach detected. Communication systems compromised." Before the Admiral could respond, all displays began showing images from Earth, families in parks, children in schools, ordinary humans living their lives, interspersed with historical footage of Council subjugation on other worlds. A voice narrated in the common galactic language, explaining humanity's desire for peaceful coexistence and questioning why the Council feared independence so greatly. Similar scenes played out across all three fleets. On some ships, crew members from younger Council species stopped their duties to watch. On others, security forces tried desperately to override the broadcast. In the confusion, no one noticed that the forbidden weapon's energy signature had changed. When it fired, instead of directing its destructive power toward Earth, the energy surged backward through the Council's connected fleet systems, temporarily disabling shields and weapons throughout their armada. Maya's voice cut through the chaos. Broadcast on all frequencies. "We could destroy your ships now, but that is not our purpose. We want only freedom, for ourselves and for all beings under Council rule. We invite those who share this vision to join us." What happened next would be debated in galactic histories for centuries. On 37 Council ships, crews from younger species mutinied, declaring support for Earth. Zex Taral, in a decision that would end his 700-year career but begin his legacy as a reformer, ordered his personal guard to arrest Admiral Krenvor and halt the attack. Elder Vorlak, watching from the Council hub light years away, did not interfere, his ancient mind considering possibilities he had not entertained in millennia. Within hours, 1/3 of the Council fleet had stood down, their crews refusing to participate in Earth's destruction. Another third, loyal to traditional Council authority, prepared to fight both Earth and the mutineers. The remainder maintained position, awaiting clear orders from an increasingly divided Council leadership. The battle that followed was brief, but intense. Earth's defense systems, augmented with alien technology, focused on disabling rather than destroying enemy ships. The Council loyalists, hampered by confusion and divided leadership, failed to mount an effective offense. 3 days later, representatives from Earth and its allies met with a delegation of reformist Council members aboard a neutral vessel. The document they signed would become known as the Geneva Compact, establishing a new galactic coalition based on mutual respect and cooperation rather than dominance. Maya Chen, appointed as Earth's first galactic ambassador, faced Zex Taral across the negotiation table. "Your species has changed the course of galactic history," the former High Commander acknowledged. "Few would have predicted such an outcome from a pre-spaceflight civilization." "Humans have always been good at beating the odds," Maya replied, with a small smile, "especially when fighting for something worth protecting." 5 years later, the first joint human-alien exploration vessel prepared to depart Earth's orbit. Named Retaliation, the ship had been repurposed from a captured Council warship, its weapon systems replaced with scientific equipment. Captain Maya Chen stood on its bridge, watching Earth grow smaller on the viewscreen. The scars of battle had healed on both the planet and its people. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, not through submission, but through the courage to fight for a better vision of coexistence. The Council, reformed and restructured, now operated as a true cooperative of equal species. Some of the oldest members had withdrawn in protest while others embraced the new paradigm. Across the galaxy, formerly subjugated worlds established their own governments, many looking to Earth as a model. As Retaliation engaged its faster-than-light drive beginning its journey to regions unknown even to the oldest Council members, Maya thought about how far they had come. Earth had retaliated not just with weapons, but with ideas, and for those ideas, more than anything else, the Galactic Council truly hadn't been ready.